We took we were study buddies together and taking our ministry courses, and I've always enjoyed his light. He does have a divine spark. He has a divine spark. He's got this childlike spark and that everybody loves about him. And Glenn has his face work light workers. Okay, let me get my words together. I'm supposed to be relaxed. His Facebook page, Lightworkers of the World. He has over 350 members now, 350,000 members, which is amazing. And it's wonderful that he has that, had created this to send that beautiful light workers light all around the world and connect all these people together. It's just a wonderful, beautiful energy. He has lots of background in public speaking. And tonight he is going to do a presentation with the anniversary of the COVID lockdowns and moving forward into our new lives. Welcome everybody, Reverend Glenn Coles.
Awesome, Reverend Marielle, thank you so much. I'm just going to, a bit earlier today, I did a good saging of my room, and now a cleansing. Well, I take myself back to February of 2020. And, as Reverend Mary just said, we worked together on this church for quite a while. And we were at a board meeting where we were talking about all the plans we were making for 2020. And one of the things that we spoke about was potentially having a special event at the church on Sunday, March 15th. And I piped up with the joke, oh, well, beware the Ides of March. So we ended up deciding that, no, we were going to do this particular event in April. Well, it's exactly 1 year ago tonight that we closed the church for the first time after news of a pandemic was released. And I remember on the Saturday afternoon, we were all talking by phone, and Mary called me, and what are we going to do? Because hockey had just been canceled, and the basketball playoffs were canceled, and the schools were closing. And we said, we've got to be safe, we've got to be smart, and let's just close the church on Sunday night, and we'll see what happens from there. Well, it's been a year. It's been a wild, interesting, eventful, both boring and joyous. It's been everything this particular year. Canada has had about 900,000 people identified as being COVID positive over the past year, and approximately 22,000 Canadians have died with COVID over this time. And you think of that number and you think, that every one of those deaths that occurred from COVID caused mourning in a family. There's someone that misses that person. There's someone that can say, yes, I lost my grandmother to COVID, or I lost my son to COVID, or whatever. And you think of the families in the mourning and the funeral and the small funerals where they couldn't have gatherings. They had to deal with the pain in very small groups. 22,000 Canadians have passed over the last year. Around the world, 2.5 million people have died from COVID. And this has changed our whole frame of thinking. Our world's different today than it was a year ago. A year and a week ago, there were all kinds of things that we took for granted that now we just simply don't do. Our world has changed. But let's put this in a bit of perspective. There's a website called the World Population Clock, and it times through all the things that are happening around the world. And in the first 10 weeks of this year, since New Year's Eve, there have been 11 million deaths around the world. 11 million people have died. Now, in the same time frame, 27 million births have occurred since New Year's Eve. So in 10 weeks, just these past 10 weeks, the population of the earth has increased by 16 million people. That's almost half of Canada. In the year since the pandemic was first announced, the population of our planet has increased by 52 million people. That's almost twice Canada added to the population that was here a year ago. The point is, the pandemic is not a species killer. We're still growing. Humanity is still thriving. We've got challenges. We have health issues to consider, but humanity is not at its dire end at the moment. Things will change. Things are changing. If anyone watches Game of Thrones, there's a saying that, you know, they regularly go, you know, throughout. The Starks are always saying, winter is coming. Winter is coming. And I'm here to tell you now that spring is coming. We talked a bit earlier, before some of you had arrived, about a friend of mine who noticed today she saw the first robin of the spring. Reverend Marielle has said she saw several robins on the ice. The blackbirds have started to arrive and claim their territories. And nature knows. We learn, we grow if we can tune in with nature and what it's doing. Nature's smarter than us. The birds know they're coming north because it's time. Spring is coming. We're going to see the trees starting to bloom. We're going to see the flowers starting to come up. It's going to get warmer, and people are going to start gathering again. There's going to be a new health that comes through for a society. The vaccinations are part of that, but there is also an immunity. Everything is all coming together, and it's my feeling that we're going to move back towards a new normal as this year progresses. Now, what's been missing? Think about a year ago. I haven't been to the movies. I've watched lots of movies on my couch on DVD, but I haven't been to a movie theater with people to watch something on the big screen. I haven't been to a concert. I haven't listened to live music. I haven't gathered on an outdoor patio to watch a band play. I haven't gone into a bar to have some beers and eat chicken wings and watch the football game. I haven't been in a restaurant to sit down. You know, all these things. Can you imagine right now the thought of the Mandarin buffet? It's just so out of place for our current thinking to imagine this big field of food and all these people lined up and gathering around and filling their plates and going back to eat. It's just so out of place with the training that we've gone through for the past year. And we will adapt, we will adjust, things will open up again in a new way, in a healthier way. I remember probably 15 years ago when the SARS scare went around, and the Keg restaurant had salad bars, and it was deemed, well, you know, this isn't really safe. So what they did was they put on plastic things so that you had to reach under the plexiglass to help yourself to the salad, which meant you weren't breathing on it. They adjusted. All right, we as a species, we will adjust to a healthier way of thinking, a healthier way of living. We're more conscious of what we each are vulnerable to, and we're also conscious of, yes, you know, things move around. We're also conscious that we have strong innate healing abilities. Right, this the fears that come in of, oh my God, I'm going to catch this thing and it's going to kill me. Well, it's good to be aware. It's good to be conscious of following protocols, of being safe and so on. But our healing is strong, and this year in isolation has brought out so much for so many people. Now, what's been going on As Marielle mentioned earlier, I'm involved with his group with 350,000 people, which means that I'm more exposed to thoughts in the mass consciousness than most people. I'm seeing stuff coming in. I have a big flow of input that I see on a regular basis, and I can digest and I can see patterns, and I get sucked into things, and I get excited about things, and so on. But because of the volume, I've been watching what people have been going through this past year. There's been a huge increase in fear and doubts and anxiety and depression and boredom and self-esteem challenges and self-worth, and there's no point living anymore. And suicides are up, and drug overdoses are up. And I have friends that have lost children to drug overdose. Just boom, they go to a party and they wake up dead. This is the kind of year that it's been. And a lot of that has come from this whole restriction of isolation. When you're at home living in a box, you have to deal with who you are. When you've lost a lot of your identity, your public identity, you're coming back to your own identity. And it's a challenge to say, who am I? What can I do? How can I achieve something? How can I feel good about myself? How can I feel progressive in this restrictive environment? And each of us have had to find that answer within ourselves. And in my belief, I think this has been a wonderful opportunity for growth. If we each look at who we were a year ago and who we are now, we've grown. We've seen stuff, we've dealt with stuff, we've more defined our purpose. What do we want to accomplish? What's important to us? Which people are important to us? Who do we make sure we connect with on a regular basis? All of these things have come in. And while we're missing the community aspects, we're also discovering them again. Look at what we've got here tonight. We've got a group of people. We're all sitting at our homes comfortable, and yet we're part of a community. We're connected to this community, and we share with each other. And I've been doing this with several different groups, and it's wonderful because it takes away the restriction of geography and travel. I don't have to worry about hopping in the car an hour before service to get there on time. I just have to make sure I log in at 7 or 6:45, so we have a bit of extra time. This capability is going to be a huge advantage. It already is an advantage now, and I suspect it's going to continue, that we will be able to gather groups of people that want to share thoughts and share ideas and work on projects, etc., globally. Marielle has been working with people down in Florida, spiritualist churches down in Florida. There's a connection there that we can use. We've got things to share with them. They have things to share with us. This goes throughout the world. There's huge advantages that are going to come together because of what we've developed. There'll be opportunities. A lot of people are hurting financially. A lot of businesses have closed. Some restaurants have adjusted to takeout business, but a lot of restaurants have closed. And there's just this whole test of business, whether it can survive or not, is just going boom. There's a whole bunch of stuff that got eliminated. But conversely, there's a whole bunch of things that have started up. There's new ideas, there's new ways of communicating, there's a stronger growth of community sharing, community business. The more that you can share within your local area, the more self-supportive each area becomes. So there's that. As things open, there'll be opportunities. There'll be empty restaurants, and someone will say, hey, there's an empty restaurant. Why don't I start cooking things? Hey, there's an empty bowling alley. Why don't we open up bowling? All these opportunities are going to come again, and there's a world of things that are going to happen for us. So we've gone through adjustments. You know, the ride the world has taken with political change. You just think of what we've been through in the past year and all the thoughts and ideas and conspiracies and things we've had to deal with and the news and the excitement. And just take a breath and remember that you are in power. You are in charge of you. You control your vibration. And as you inherit your ability to create your own power, you then share that with others, and that continues on, and so on and so on. I believe there is a big shift coming. I think there's a human shift, a shift in consciousness. And as we do this work on ourselves and share that with others, it's going to expand. I think we're in for an exciting year. So I will close and remind you that spring is coming.